Well, up on the mastery tour. Well. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Ask Me Anything About Improv, episode 7, I think, is happening. All right. So, I don't know. Let's go ahead and let's dig in right here. Ask me anything about improv. Let's see. Nina wants to know if you could only give one guideline doing improv, what would it be? And then in parentheses, she puts, besides, yes. Well, I mean, Nina, that was my first thing is yes. I guess, one thing about improv is to, you know, experience it, do it, see what works for you, and then, take all the things you're hearing and think of them as tools that you put in your tool belt, but really get up there and do it. That's the biggest thing is to jump in, do it, try it. You know, I guess a big thing is to go easy on yourself. So I would say, yeah, don't judge yourself. Don't go too hard on yourself. Allow yourself abilities to make mistakes, but you know, let yourself and your imagination go wild and jump in. That's the big thing. A couple things that have helped me and that I love seeing when people jump into improv is like fearlessness, just saying yes, obviously. Another is playing smart. So I would encourage people to play to the height of your intelligence. So make smart choices instead of like dumb choices or choices that are like based on low hanging fruit, like things that just anybody could do that are like designed for a shock or designed for lesser, you play not to the height of your intelligence. But yeah, I'd say like the big thing with improv is just do it. And as you go, like find the people who get you and then surround yourself with them and play with them and see what their, imagination is like and support them. I guess another one, I'm giving a couple answers. One more is like focus on them instead of you. So focus on your scene partner, focus on the group, focus on the scene, but just focus less on yourself. Let's see. Bubba, hi Stephanie. Hi, Jayant. Hi, buddy, and Mark and JJ. Oh, look at this! What amazing people joining today. Thanks for coming out and watching, everyone. Stephanie, what is my favorite improv moment from this week? Oh, that's a great question. Anytime I'm doing the happy hour, honestly, and I have people go to breakout rooms and then they come back and the whole group is laughing, that to me is what it's all about. So I love those moments. I did an exercise in the happy hour, and I had people change things about their appearance and see if their partner could notice, and it was just so fun to watch people come back and how they looked. It was just great. So yeah, anytime I think that for sure is when people are in the happy hours or in shows or just in general when they do, when the whole group is laughing because they're having so much fun. I think that's fantastic. Yes. Um, Ari, hi buddy, good to see you. Stephanie says my partner is the best dynamic duo that hasn't happened. Yes, Stephanie says my partner in the best dynamic duo that hasn't happened yet. So Stephanie and Ari, please put in the chat when you're going to do your online scene because there's no reason not to. And they're both amazing, like teachers. They're amazing performers. They're creative. They're smart, but they're also great humans. And I think that's the biggest thing for improvisers is if you're a good human being, if you're a nice human being, if you are kind and you're curious, you'll be a great improviser and already are a great improviser. I love that this has allowed people from different parts of the world to connect. And yeah, the like Stephanie said, like my partner in the best dynamic duo that hasn't happened yet. Like you're allowed to find those people and to connect with them and to do shows or do scenes or just reach out to them and talk. I think that's fantastic. So I'm very thankful in that regard for what's been happening with the pandemic and the fact that we are able to do that and to expand the improv ecosystem, but also shrink it so it's closer, if that makes sense. Hey, Mark, I hope you are well as well, my friend. Mark Turpin is one of the most, I mean, I don't know, this Mark is just great. He retweets and reshares. He shares, I should say. We're talking Facebook. He shares um, everyone's information, all this improv information. He's really good at doing that, and I encourage people to do that also. Which is, you see something about someone's improv, and if you're in the improv community, like share that with your community, share somebody else's class, share somebody else's show. You know, I've been involved with too many theaters that look at things as like you got to hoard it and keep it, and it's a competition. And I actually worked for somebody who said to me, I have to blow out someone else's candle to make mine shine brighter. And they truly believe that. And so I was appalled by that. I should have had the strength, or I wish I had the strength to have walked away at that point from that situation, because it would have saved me a lot of heartache, but I didn't. But it taught me something, which is we can help each other out right here. So, you sharing on Facebook something about someone's, improv show or workshop or class or anything like that. I mean, it goes a long way. So thank you for that, Mark. Who in the comedy world makes you laugh, and have you met any of them in person? Oh boy, Mark, great question. I mean, early on, like when I was training, people like Stephen Colbert and Steve, Carell and Amy Sedaris and Paul Danello and Ian Gomez and Nia Vardalos and all those folks did make me laugh tremendously. And I've met, I was lucky to meet them. I had Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell as teachers, so I also learned from them. Steve Martin, my comedy idols are probably Gilda Radner, Steve Martin, John Cleese, and I have not met, obviously I haven't met Gilda Radner, I have not met Steve Martin, I have not met John Cleese either. I think Eddie Murphy on SNL, when he was on SNL with the characters he did and everything, I mean, I think he's amazing. I've not met him. Maya Rudolph, I think, is one of the maybe the most underrated SNL cast member. I think is Maya Rudolph. I haven't met her, but she makes me laugh all the time. Who else? Oh, Phil Hartman makes me laugh a ton. But there are some people that make me laugh all the time. Steve Story, who I'm doing a 10-minute with scene in about an hour and a half online. He makes me laugh all the time. John Tabor, who none of you have ever heard of, is an improviser from Chicago, not on Facebook, but John makes me laugh a ton. All of you have made me laugh. Mark, you've made me laugh when we did our scene together. I think it was hilarious. So Stephanie Ray makes me laugh. Michelle Gilliam makes me laugh. The group I coach in Connecticut, Perpetual Notion, make me laugh all the time. When I teach every class, I laugh. So those people make me laugh. So I'm very lucky. But Ari, the folks at Improv, all Improv Comedy Bangalore, the Adam and Eves, they all make me laugh. David Escobedo, God, I love that guy. He makes me laugh. So yeah, a lot I have met, and that do more of the people I've met that has made me laugh than the people I have never met. So yeah, they make me laugh. I'm watching Archer right now, which is a cartoon about a spy, and it's fantastic. And there are a couple folks in Archer who are from Dad's Garage in Atlanta, improvisers, and they're tremendously funny. So yeah, there are a lot of people who do make me laugh. There are people who are famous I haven't met yet who make me laugh. There are people who are famous who I have met who make me laugh. There are some famous people I know who make me laugh. But more than that, there are people that are not improvisers, that are not comedians, that make me laugh. My significant other makes me laugh all the time, from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep. That person makes me laugh the most of anyone on this planet. And so I'm very lucky and fortunate to spend time with them. But Stephanie, I will answer this also. We have not met in person. Mark, yeah, exactly, Stephanie. Mark makes me laugh too. And Stephanie makes me laugh. I mean, I'm just so blessed. I'm so lucky. I do these 10 minutes with scenes with people. And the reason I do it is because these people make me laugh, and people I've never met before that scene happens make me laugh. And I laugh before the scene. I try not to laugh during the scene, although I can't help myself. But then I laugh after the scene as well with those people. So it's great. So those make me laugh. Yes, Stephanie, so many accessories. Stephanie's she's a great improv teacher. She teaches a lot of classes. So I encourage you to look her up. I encourage you to reach out to her, hire her to teach you, hire Michelle Gilliam to teach you as well. Hire these folks. To teach you. But Stephanie also, she taught a workshop, which I'm going to steal the title of, and I'm going to, it's a great idea. I don't know if I'll steal it. I might incorporate some of the uses, but it's like using wigs and props and accessories. And I've seen a couple of screenshots of what she does. It's truly hilarious. Like the screenshots are hilarious. So reach out to Stephanie and have her come and work with you on using props and costumes and wigs and things like that, because it'll just expand what you can do. And now we're in this world. There's no reason we shouldn't do it, right? It's so funny when it's like improv purists go, no, we can't use props or wigs or costumes. And then they do scenes from a room and they're like, oh, welcome to the waiting room of this hospital. It's obviously not a waiting room of a hospital. So yeah, allow yourself that opportunity. Joe, in the before times, I love that. Do you still go and watch shows outside of teaching any classes? Did I still go and watch shows? Oh, in the before times, did I still go and watch shows outside of teaching any of the classes? Yeah, all the time. I watch people's improv shows all the time. I would watch friends of mine. I would watch former students do improv shows. I would watch shows where I heard it might be an interesting show and go see it. Like if it's a genre show of some sort, I would go and watch it because I'm interested in that. If I'm in another city or country, I definitely would go watch things. So yeah, I would go and watch shows outside of classes as well. Yeah, for sure. Most of the time, if it was somebody I knew or who reached out to me, I would do it more likely than if it was just a show. But there were times where I would see a show and I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. It's very hard for us as performers and improvisers to promote ourselves. And I get that. We don't want to be pushy. We're afraid of, am I posting too much? Am I posting, what are people going to say? I get scared because I'm posting about my shows, but I don't want to. Like, let's be clear. No improviser, no artist wants to do that marketing. No artist in general. Like singer songwriters don't want to do it. Painters don't want to do it. Playwrights, they don't want to do it. What we just want to do is create. That's what we want to do. We don't want to do anything else because that's what we're good at and that's what we're comfortable with. So we just want to create. We don't want to have to sell our shows, or there's this phrase sell out like it's a bad thing. It's like, no, I want to sell out every seat I can. I want to sell every ticket I can. What usually happens in groups is that responsibility falls to the person who's like the organized one, the one who's like, fine, I'll do it, because they also do it in their life. So they're like, okay, I'll also do it here, but we need to share that responsibility. So realize that it's a fine line of too much or promoting yourself. And I'm at a point where I just don't care. I know that there are people that have turned off notifications for my posts or maybe even unfriended me, and it's sad, but I get it. I'm sure there are people, on Facebook where I'm like, wow, you're posting a lot about fishing, man. And then I'm going to mute them because all they post about is fishing. I post about improv and I do a lot of stuff about improv. I love it. I think it changes people's lives. I have fun. I think in this time, especially, it's useful. So before, like very early in the pandemic, I said, okay, I'm going to be doing a lot of this, and I know it's going to, offend some people, or they might think, geez, enough, dude. But like that, what they think of me is none of my damn business. So I'm sure those people also didn't need a lot of ammunition to mute me or to be like, oh, I don't want to hear this guy anymore. So promote yourself. Let people know about the things you're doing. If you want people to come to your shows, and if you want people in Facebook groups you post your stuff in to see it and to interact, then interact with them. Don't just go into these groups and post your stuff and then leave. Like, make comments, share other people's things as well. The more we help each other out, the better. Put your YouTube channel in the chat right here, and let's subscribe to each other's YouTube channel. If you see somebody do a show, uh, see if you can throw them $1 or £1, or whatever your currency is. See if you can, do that through, like in the States, it's like Venmo or Cash App, I think is another one, or PayPal, and see if you can throw them a tip or say, hey, I don't have a lot of coin right now, but here's a small amount. Thank you for creating that, because it's very hard for us as artists to do that, to ask for that. It's funny. We'll work 4 different jobs. We'll drive an Uber. We'll deliver for DoorDash. We'll do all these silly things, and then we won't ask to be paid for what we do, because people have told us it's just a glorified hobby. The thing that's happening with the dictator in the White House is just brutal. And, people, they're having these fundraiser events, and people are working those events, and people are now getting sick with COVID because of that. And I turned to my significant other last night and I said, that could be me. I could be one of those people that go, I got to take this job. I know the risks. I know, especially with this, when they're not going to have masks, they're Republicans, they're not going to have masks. I'm probably going to catch something. But hey, that rent deferment for a couple months that happened, I need to pay 4 months in rent yesterday. Like the rent wasn't canceled. It was just deferred. And so now it's like, what do I have to go right now, and I have to make a living somehow. So I'm going to put myself in danger. It's easier for us to do that, to go into a place where we're probably going to get COVID as artists. It's easier for us to do that than it is for us to say, hey, if you have some cash, can you throw a couple bucks my way? Or, hey, I'm doing this show. It's £5 right here. It's €5, So I think it's very telling that for us as artists, we would rather make money for someone else than make money for ourselves, because we look at it as like, we shouldn't do that. And people tell us that. People say you should be starving artists. Like there's some sort of nobility and some sort of romanticism about being that. And it's like, no, it's time for us to say, please, let's maybe start this new idea going around of like, artists are very important, and they should be paid and compensated. And if you're doing a show, see if you don't want to pay yourself, think about paying the people you're doing the show with. So if you're doing a show with other improvisers, then see if you can pay them. I'm evaluating that with these 10-minute things I do, because I'm like, I'm not paying anybody to do them. And I know it's a thing with improv, but I'm also like, could I start, and could I go back and go, all right, maybe I take a little bit of money, and I'm going to offer it to people and say, hey, if you would like this, I'd like to give you some, because you did this with me, so I'd like to do something for you. So I think it's something that's important to consider moving forward, for sure. But Joe, thank you for that question that led to that long-winded answer there. Stephanie, I drew a second beauty mark on my face and then forgot about it and continued by a day that way. So Stephanie, in one of our exercises, she drew something on her face because she had to change something about her appearance, and then she forgot about it and then continued the day with that. It was great. Also, I'm wondering, did anybody say anything, Stephanie? Did anybody mention that to you, or did you at the end of the night look in the mirror and go, oh no, I had to hear the whole day? That's another funny idea. No, thank you, Mark. Yeah, Mark, you are one of those guys that you share the wealth, and you are always helping other people and promote them, and you're such a strong improviser. So thank you. Stephanie, all my favorite people keep introducing me to my additions to my team of favorite people. I love it. Me too. That's what I love about this right now. The amount of favorite people I have has grown so much, and it would not have happened if not for the pandemic. And Stephanie is one of those examples, and Mark too, and probably a lot of the people who are on here right now are ones that I've met through the pandemic or through someone I've known. I've met them. So I'm very appreciative. Hi, Kat Kenny. Speaking of someone I'm appreciative for, Kat Kenny is one of those people. Ultra positive, so fun to play with. Her and I did a 10-minute scene, and it was just so much fun. So Kat Kenny's another person I say, reach out to her, learn from her. You can also do one-on-one stuff with people. You can reach out to Kat or Stephanie or Michelle Gilliam or David Escobedo or John Nguyen in the UK, or Emma Bird, and say, hey, can you help train me with some exercises, and hire them to do a 30-minute or an hour session. If you can't pay them, then see if you can barter for something. What can you do? Hey, if you work with me on characters for an hour, I'd love to do this. I'd love to help update your website. I'd love to, you know what, I'd love to write something, a testimonial for you, something like that. But see if you can offer something for them. Hi, Roseanne Nelson. Speaking of great improvisers, Roseanne says, what is the advantage of and or best way to explore different philosophies and approaches to improv? Mm, well, I think the best way, I'll take it the second part first. I think the best way to explore those philosophies and approaches is, reach, I guess, think about some of the different ones like, UCB or Groundlings or Second City or Comedy Sports or, Improv Comedy Bangalore and Improv Noof, whatever that style is. Acme, no, Improv Theater here in LA does genre, and they're good at. The Hideout Theater does a lot of great genre work as well, and they do a lot of great classes, and they have a style. And then reach out to some of those people. A lot of those theaters aren't around anymore. So if you want to learn the IO style, reach out to Liz Allen, reach out to Craig Euler. Like they're teaching it right now, and they're kind of free agents. If you want to do the Groundlings style, and you can go to their classes. You can also, talk to someone like Brian Palermo, who's one of the teachers there. So I think that's way. What's the advantage of? I think the advantage of learning any style is, are there tools you can take from that style and put in your tool belt so you're ready to go and maybe you go, oh, I like the character style of the Groundlings more than I like the character style of Second City, because they're two very different ways to get to character. And so that might appeal to you, and you might go, oh yeah, I like this style more. Later on in your life, you might want to play the other style. Like Second City is more play people closer to yourselves kind of character work, and the Groundlings are more big, bolder character work. And I've played both, and I like playing both. And at different periods of my improv journey, I've preferred one over the other. A thing like UCB's Game of the Scene, right? Like you can reach out to somebody like Will Hines, who, I mean, he's amazing at that, and he's amazing at teaching other stuff. But you can then, when you're in a situation where somebody's playing Game of the Scene, you won't feel like you can't do it. You'll recognize, you go, oh, okay, this is a game of the scene, so I'll play the game. So I think those are some of the advantages to like taking different philosophies and approaches to improv. See what, it's like I've always been taught it's like a buffet. There's a whole bunch of food, there's a whole bunch of philosophies. Take what you can and leave the rest. Oh, I like Jello. I'm gonna have a little bit of Jello here. Oh, I don't like mashed potatoes. I'm going to leave that. Oh, I don't like turkey. I'm going to leave that. Oh, I like roast beef. I'll take that. So it's kind of the same thing. Like you give it a try and you're like, oh, I'm going to try a little bit of these, this bowl of carrots. And you taste it and you go, I don't like it so much. But then you've at least experienced it. The same with short form. People, you don't have to love short form, but if you can understand what short form is and you understand the benefits of it, then when somebody plays like a faster style or somebody wants to play a short form game, you feel competent and confident enough to be able to do that. Joe, yes, Joe Kovac on Instagram. Every week he does It's Been 1 Week, that 1 week song by Bare Naked Ladies. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. And he does it with the quarantine weeks. So it'll be like, it's been 19 weeks since the quarantine. It's like the highlight of my week. So I love when Joe does that. Thank you, Joe. Why should improv be a secret? Everyone needs to know. Yeah, improv should not be a secret. Everyone needs to know about it because improv helps everyone. And so it's good for performing, but these games were not developed originally to perform. These games were developed originally just to help people be better communicators, more effective, more comfortable, and to have adults learn through play. And so I think that's what's really important. Hi, Anshu. Speaking of great improvisers. Hi, Anisha. Oh, really great improvisers. Hey, Kelly Barrett, another great improviser. Kelly Barrett and we are on a team called Barstool Philosophers with the aforementioned Steve Story, which is a group of, Kelly, I don't know, how many are 20? There's a group of 20 or 25 people. There's a core group usually that is like, I don't know, 4 to 8 that will get together and play. But we're all spread out throughout the country. And I've not done a show with them in, I don't know, 6 years or more, but it's a real fun group that we don't rehearse. We just get together whenever people can play, and we just get together and do shows. Uh, and yeah, it's a fun group. In fact, I did a show once with some of the bars, with some of them, and it was this guy, Chris Jinks, perfect name. Chris Jinks loves coolers. He has a collection of coolers. He's just a fan of coolers. Um, he booked, I think he booked this show, and it was at a Veterans of Foreign War hall. So it's called a VFW hall, and it's a build. They're throughout the country in the states, and it's where, like, if you're a veteran of a war, you can be a member of it, and it's like the Elks Lodge or anything like that. It's just with veterans, and so we were booked on this gig, and outside it, they had a calendar, and on the day we were performing, we walk up and it says, uh, it was, uh, I think it was this order: steaks, steaks, comedy, horse racing. That was the order for that night. There was some horse racing event broadcast on TV that day. It might have been like the Preakness or the Belmont Stakes, or maybe even the Kentucky Derby, but it was steaks. So there was cook your own steaks in the back, comedy, and then horse racing. It was like we were second bill. It was great. Can we get some of the suggestion of improv duels people suggest on your Facebook page together? Some of them would be mythic. Yes, Roseanne, I am. I posted on my Facebook page. Let's have improv. Who would you like to see perform together? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start reaching out to those folks and start trying to set up moments for them to play together, because I think it would be really good. I think it'd be fun to have groups where you're like, oh, I think these two people would work well together. I'd also love to do a series of improv shows where it's like, let's put two people who look similar together to do a show. Also, maybe let's have two people who play in a similar style together to do a show right there. Sarah Davies is on a group. What is her? I forget. Let me think. Her group's name is, but it is, she's on a group, and it's her and another performer, and they look alike, but I think Sarah's a lot taller. And so I forget the name of it. So Sarah, forgive me for forgetting the name of your group, but they look alike, but Sarah's just a lot taller than the other performers. So I think it'd be fun to put people like that together, like just people who look alike to do shows. So we're going to do that. Yes, indeed, we will be doing that. Don't you worry right there. Yeah, everybody hates marketing. Everybody hates marketing. Exactly. Yeah, Kat, we love students. They make us laugh all the time. Oh, yeah. Thank you for that, Mark. David Escobedo and Glossop Improv. Seki and Jess did a 10-minute scene together, and that was just incredible. So if you haven't seen that, check that out for sure. Yeah, see, Stephanie guest hosted a workshop with Liverpool Comedy Improv, and it was truly awesome and beyond words. So please take her up on hiring her right there. Yeah, Stephanie, we all hate marketing. We all hate it. We can hype up, what's funny is we can hype up everyone else's shows, talk about them, but we can't do it to ourselves. So it's just something as an artist, it happens. Hi, Kathy Klotz guest. Speaking of great improvisers, Kathy is not just a great improviser, she also was trained in short form. So I just love and think people who are trained in short form have more tools, and they make quicker decisions and have more fun as they go. Not saying you have to be great at it, but I think you have to appreciate it for sure. Kathy does a great podcast and does a lot of work with improv in businesses as well. So she facilitates improv for corporate settings, which is great. Spamming sucks, right, Kathy? Promote each other. Find the balance. Think about promoting 3 or 4 things of other people before you do yourself in a group. And be authentic and mean it, right? Be genuine in these. Don't just like say, hey, great, but like David Escobedo is really good at that, of saying like specific things about it that he enjoyed. So yeah, talk specific stuff. Hi, Lakshmi. Yeah, help each other out, y'all. That's what improv's all about. Somebody, yeah, Mark, you and Sid should definitely do one. Oh, I love it. Oh, and you already did it. You're going to upload it. perfect. Yeah, I think you two. Oh, that's a dynamo right there. That's perfect. Exactly, Ari. The people have spoken. Exactly. Russell Hackney. So Russell Hackney is he's a he's like a I don't know if I maybe a mentor. I don't know. Russell's a guy that, speaking of looking alike, we used to always in Chicago go to the same auditions together, and we kept seeing each other every time. And then eventually we started talking and we became like best of friends. And I love Russell Hackney so much. And I talk to Russell all the time about stuff. He asked how much for the painting. I painted that right back there. So if you are interested in commissioning me for a painting just like that, in that kind of abstract, style right there, I guess, I don't know. It's somewhat Jackson Pollock inspired. Yeah, reach out to me. I'll do one of these for you and I'll ship it anywhere in the world right there. I like Russell is he's a huge part of my life because anytime I think about something where I'm not sure what to say, I think of what Russell would say or how he would put it. And he does it in such a great way and it's a professional way, but it helps me whenever I'm struggling for what to say. For example, if someone were to ask me, how much did you make on that thing? I think what would Russell say? And Russell would laugh and go, "Are you serious? That's great. You want to know how much I made on a job? Oh, that's priceless." Like that's what I would think he would say. And sometimes I've talked to him too and said like, "Hey, what would you do in this situation?" So I'm really appreciative of Russell. He's very funny as well. He also has one of these mopeds with a sidecar. And the last time I was in Chicago, which was like a year ago, I was on the sidecar and he's on the scooter and we're just cruising around Chicago and it was the most fun. Russell and I would do a ton of gigs together and, like handing out flyers or street promotion or whatever. And people would like, kind of sometimes give you silly looks or be like, "Oh, we're getting paid enough for that." And he and I would be like, "Hey man, we're done in an hour. You're going into that office building where you're miserable. We're going to go have lunch by the lake." So Russell has also really helped me professionally of like finding gigs I could do, like team building work and things like that, where I could use my improv skills to get paid. And so, yeah, thank you, Russell. Anisha, I love how you've curated your space, combination of all the things you post, personal, relatable. Oh, thank you so much. And the storytelling that runs through it. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Uh, what do I do when you brain freeze during a scene? Says Ari. Never happened, dude. Next question. No. What do? Here's a couple tools. One is I might say, "Oh, geez, Terry, I totally blanked and had a brain freeze right now. What did you say?" Another is I might go, "What? No way." Another is I might go, "Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Say that to me again. Are you kidding me? Say that to me again." I might say something like that during a scene. I might go to object work. Like that's why having an object in your hand is really helpful, which is something John Hildreth talks about and taught me, is like go into a scene with an object in your hand. So I might do that as well. It's just like, I'm going to have an object in my hand. And then whenever I have a brain freeze, I'll go back to kind of fidgeting with that thing. More often than not, my scene partner is going to talk and the time I'm freaking out because I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't. That time I'm freaking out is very small. It's about like a second, but in my brain, that brain freeze, my brain thinks it's like 5 minutes. It's not. Realize that silence is your asset. So it's the brain freeze might also be your brain saying to you, "Hey, slow down," or "Take a breath." So in those moments when you feel like you have a brain freeze, take a breath. If you heard what they just said and you had a brain freeze, then just repeat back what they just said to you and add a little bit of an emotion. "Wait, you want coffee?" Wait, you want coffee? You want coffee, right? So all of those things are effective. Here's a really effective tool that I use that I learned from Jeff Michalski and Jane Morris. Look at them and then just call out how they look to you emotionally, or call out your own emotion. So you cast them. So if I have a brain freeze, I'm focusing inward. I'm focusing on myself and I'm trying to find the answers. It's like in a scene when you see somebody, they look down when somebody says something to them, or they look up or they look out. They're trying to search for the answers. And when you're looking down, you're trying to search inward for the answers versus look at them. So when I have a brain freeze, I might turn to you, Ari, and say like, "Oh, you look concerned," or I might say, "I'm not feeling so good." Like any of those, I think help. So put those in your tool and then try out, see what works. Put in the chat. What do you all do when you have a brain freeze in a scene? Um, yeah, Kathy runs a Facebook. Yeah, her Facebook group is so great because, and she's really good at moderating and gentle reminders to people like, hey, don't spam. Or on Fridays is the time we promote stuff of our own. I think that's a good thing to do as well in these Facebook groups is ask the moderators, is there a time where I can promote my shows or I can promote my classes, or check in with the moderators. A lot of times they have in their about section what you can and can't do. So it'll tell you like, hey, on Mondays post things. Some groups say, hey, go nuts, promote as much as you want. That's what the group's for. But like check with the moderators when you're doing things on Facebook right there. Yeah, Anisha, let's find more revenue creating options for artists. In the States, we have Patreon, which is a great way to do it. And so I was just listening to my friend's podcast, and it's called Mega, and it's an improvised podcast. Um, and it's from like a fictional megachurch, and it's Holly Laurent and Greg Hess, and they have a Patreon page where they go, hey, if you chart, if you want to subscribe for $5 a month, you get this or you get that, so there's ways that you could do that as well as like, so you could do that as well and say, hey, Buddy McLean in Las Vegas does that. You can put in and say, hey, for $5 a month, I will, do X, Y, and Z for you. You give some sort of reward basically for that. And it might just be, hey, for $5 a month, you get access to this, whatever it is. Yeah, Stephanie, no one noticed she put a mark on her face and no one saw you outside of Zoom. I think that's perfect. Yeah. My significant other left today and had like it was like a little tiny pimple on their chin, and was like, how's that look? And I said, you're going to be in a mask all day. Nobody's going to see you. When you interact with people, nobody's going to see you. Hi, Elizabeth. Speaking of hilarious, Elizabeth is hilarious. She's a great writer. I mean, she has a great blog, and she's very funny on Facebook, and she's just so concise, and she picks her words very well, which are great comedically. Improv and meeting new people is so transformative. I think I no longer qualified as standoffish. What am I to do? Yeah, Elizabeth, I don't just be more standoffish. No, I think what are you to do is to start living this next version, this next not version, this next part of your life. You're on you're on a different journey right now in your life, and so start living that, embracing it, being okay with it. The standoffishness, I think, is, improv has come in handy with that. Now there are the instinct, it's not going to go away completely. So let me just be clear that there are moments where you're going to want to be standoffish because you feel a gut reaction to it. And I think that's going to be the time to be standoffish for sure, is to listen to the gut, which will be right at that moment. Hi, Kat. Hi, friend. Yeah, Kat's one of those people that we become friends right here through Facebook. Bart Hurt. Oh my God, Bart Hurt. Oh, hi, Bart. First off, Bart, thank you for joining, my friend. Bart's one of the most creative people I know. Would never say it. He was in a group called Ectomorph in Chicago, which were these three guys, Bart and Darren and Jim, and they would do this. It was like sketch comedy during like kind of around the alternative comedy phase, which was like early 90s. And they were playing, I was with Comedy Sports in a smaller back room in a club called the Improv, and Ectomorph played the bigger 500 seat, I think it was 500 seat, 300 seat room. I think it was 500 seat stand-up room. And they came out, and people were expecting stand-up, and they came out and they did this almost absurd, surreal, just like very funny, character-driven sketch. And it was tremendous. It blew my mind. I remember watching, I was a young performer, and I remember watching them. And in fact, it was so good. I did a sketch show a couple of years ago, and I reached out to Bart and I said, hey, I want to do this. I want to have my group do one of the runners, one of the bits you did in your show. And I asked him, could we do it? And he was like, sure, I don't care. Make sure you reach out to, these people and but it was great. It was just a tremendous, their group was fantastic. And it was also like three really skinny, tall dudes. So it was interesting to watch. Bart had like a goatee and a black hair. He kind of looked like wizard with that. What do you say, buddy? And I mean, it was and the biggest compliment. But they all had three very distinct looks and were very funny and were just. Bart is one of the nicest, most creative dudes in the world. So thank you, Bart, right there. Um, UCB for the win. Stephanie, yeah, improv has ruined my claim to be an extreme extrovert that doesn't talk to people. I'll still occasionally describe myself that way, and folks are like, see, Stephanie, exactly. People think we're all very, people have such different interpretations of who improvisers are, and some think like, wow, you must be so extroverted, and it's like, no, we're sometimes we are extroverted, sometimes we're not at all. I think improv helps hide that fear when you're out in that situation. Um, this guy talking now isn't a character. Nope. Sorry, buddy. Kat, shout out to David Escobedo as well. He's someone who's walking the walk. Right. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people who are watching now, you are the ones walking the walk and you are the ones who are making a change. And there are no longer gatekeepers. They have no power anymore. And a lot of times those gatekeepers had the power, and that's what kept people down. And that's what kept situations the way it was, the situation the way it was. And that's why people left a lot of improv, is the gatekeepers had all the power. And then when you felt like nobody's going to hear you, then a lot of people just left. Not a lot of people would leave and then, talk about it. They would just leave. And so I feel like right now it's a golden age because we don't have those gatekeepers anymore. So do your own thing. Do like the Black Improv Alliance. Do your own thing. Queen City Comedy with out there with Carla. They are doing their own thing as well. So start Glossip Improv, which I just started learning more about, is relatively new. They're on the scene doing their own thing. So start doing your own thing, reach out to people, connect with each other, and start doing things together. But then walk the walk. People will, those of you who are more positive in life will at times feel like, people think I'm fake, or people will accuse me of being fake or not genuine. It's like, again, that's their opinion. Don't worry about that. Let them have their own opinion. If they think that, that's fine. You just have to do what you think is right. So at the end of the day, or when you look at yourself in the mirror, you can say, I'm doing what I think will make a difference. And I think a lot of people in this group right now are doing that. A lot of people are doing that. Judy, how difficult is it for you to perform with someone that is completely different style from you? At this point in my career, Judy, not difficult at all. When somebody's a different style than me, like I did a scene with Dawn on here, and she goes by Dawn Thinks. And it's not that she was a different style, but she started the scene just like shot out of a cannon. And I was like, oh, I got to catch up, and I have to hang with her. So right now for me, I feel like it's not difficult at all. Sometimes there are just misconnections because it might be like a technical thing where someone's like, okay, we do this for, like, that's when it's difficult for me, honestly, but not difficult in, I don't have fun or it's hard. It's difficult in me achieving what the agenda is, what the goal of the piece is. That's difficult when it's like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do at the beginning a living room, but then each living room is going to be, person A is going to give a monologue, then person B will give a monologue based on person A, then person C will tie them together. Like whenever it gets technical like that, that's when it's difficult for me. Playing with somebody, not difficult at all. But that's when it gets difficult. Also, probably, Judy, because I've done enough scenes in my life that I don't care and I'm going to have fun. And I've done a lot, like I understand, or maybe I've experienced playing with different styles enough that it doesn't throw me. And I think what happens is when it becomes difficult is it throws people. They aren't expecting it. They're playing it different. Go back to just saying yes. Go back to your thing, just agreement. Love the character work. That's my fave. Hi, Kathy. I still love playing the game and combining it. Yeah, it's a buffet. Exactly. Take what you can. And then, yes, innovate, which means, just start doing. There are no rules anymore. What do you think is fun? What do you think is fun to do? What do you think is funny if you're going for comedy? And then try it and do it. Just do it and see what works, see what feels good for you. And when you don't do well, revel in those moments and go, boy, I failed. I love dinners where we sit around and go, okay, what's one thing that you failed at this week? And then we applaud that. So incorporate that in your life. Start embracing failure. I love you, Russell Hackney. Love you so much. Russell is the best. Russell's like one of my dearest friends. He's a guy who said to me, hey, I want to start promoting you. Where do I send them to? Your Facebook, your YouTube? What's the best way for you to do that? And he does it, and it's great. And we need more people like that. So if you know someone who's doing art, uh, reach out to them and say, what's the best way I can to help you? How can it doesn't have to be monetary, it doesn't have to be a monetary thing. It can be, do you want me to, are you doing something once a week I can promote? Can I reach out to people? If you know somebody's teaching a class, you like Stephanie, let's say Stephanie's teaching a class, or Carla, find people who you go, hey, I'm going to reach out to this person personally and say, you should really take a class with Stephanie. Reach out to 3 people. It's not that hard. And you're providing something for them. You're providing them a learning opportunity, and say, like, I think you two would be great taking a class. Hey, Carla is teaching a class on XYZ. I think you should take it because I think she's a great teacher and I think you'd benefit from it. So don't be afraid to do that as well. Yeah, Mark David is so supportive. Hi, Michelle Gilliam. We may or may not have just been talking glowingly about you. Michelle's one of those people that I never met before the pandemic, and now I am working with her as much as I can. Same with Stephanie Ray. It's like whenever we're doing shows, it's like I reach out to them because I think they're hilarious and they're really good and they play in the style that I really appreciate, and they are very supportive. So if people play other styles, that's great, but it just doesn't work for me. But that doesn't mean it doesn't work. Again, the fact that anyone knows about improv right now, regardless of how they found out about it, I'm very appreciative of. Anisha, missing fun jams with you. Yes, the single mind meld. Yes, yes. And I think also for people in North America, I think it's up to us to start looking at when we're offering classes too, so that it can be more for a global audience. Right now, we're offering them when it's convenient for us. I'm doing something with Zamac Improv, which is they have a branch in Shanghai, and I'm going to be teaching a What's Beyond Improv class for them, ZMACK, as part of their I3 series. I'm going to be teaching something for them. And the class, I believe, is 5 a.m. LA time, but it translates to a different time for other people. So, and it's 5 a.m. on a Sunday, but it's time to start doing that. So it's time for us in North America, especially, to start giving back and saying, if we can, let's teach classes at a different time that's more convenient for other people rather than everyone else getting up for us to do it. And Michelle has Improv MKE, M as in Mary, K as in kangaroo, E as in everything. And that's the airport code for Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is just north of Chicago. So Improv MKE is her company right there. Oh yes, and the Improv Gym. Thank you for that. Hi, Helen Jones. Oh, hi, yes, thanks for that, Pranavi. The Improv Gym is another great place. That's that you can go and you can take classes and learn and just do these fun drop-ins. And so please, take advantage right now of these things. And it also will help people stay afloat right there. And so, Sarah Davies is a part of that. Also some places have merchandise you can support. You can get a hat or a hoodie or something like that. I just bought something from the Inner City Jam with Faustino's group in Las Vegas. So you can support that way as well. But if it doesn't have to just be money, it can be anything. So you can support with cash, but you can also support other ways. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, it's called Twinprov. I knew Mark would know it. Sarah Davies is a group called Twinprov. It's her and someone else who look just like her right there. Great. So, let's see. Okay. So hi, Bruce Roberts. When we talk about improv styles, could you elaborate on various styles? Sure. So, there's a ton of styles. One is like short form versus long form. So short form are, like in Whose Line Is It Anyway? You have games, you get a suggestion. They run about 3 to 4 to 5 minute scenes, and then you get to do another game. There's not really necessarily a thread between the games, but there's definitely a running order that's created when you play the games. And those are more interactive. Long form is something like you get one suggestion and you can go for any amount of time right there. So those are the two kind of main styles. And then there's like a medium form, which might be a long form combined with some short form elements. There's also, you could be doing long form and then call freeze in the middle of any scene and then have them go reverse, which is a short form game. So that's like a medium form. There's also various styles of so the UCB style, which is Upright Citizens Brigade, which sprung out of IO in Chicago. And the UCB style is they really focus on the game of the scene, which is what's the first unusual thing that happens in a scene, and then you heighten it or play that out. So an example of that is, somebody comes in and says, mentions the bartender and says, I'll have a cold beer, Darth Vader. And then someone else comes in and goes, I'll have a cold whiskey, Darth Vader. So now you're playing that game. So then each person that comes in supports that game. So it's I'll have a cold blank type of booze and the bartender is Darth Vader. Or you come in and see it's like, hey, Darth Vader's the bartender. Princess Leia is one of the door person. Chewbacca's a waiter. So then we go, okay, it's all Star Wars characters. That's the game of the scene. It also might be something like the game of the scene is, I want have a seat. I don't want to have a seat, and you play out that game. Something like Who's on First by Abbott and Costello, where the names are misinterpreted as questions, is an example of game of the scene. I'm not as familiar with UCB, so this is just from knowing friends, kind of what that style is. But it's more of a game-based, intellectual. You think and more as you go. And I look at it like UCB is they are writers who improvise. And then some like Second City or IO are improvisers who write the scene as they go, meaning they discover it as they're going. So a Second City style might be something like more relationship based. What's important to us is not the plot or the premise. What's important is how we feel about each other, discovering we're brothers and we're going to explore how we feel about that. Or we're going to connect somehow. So that is a type of style. An IO tends to be more Second City style, which is more relationship based, but they do also play that game style, which is more of a fast kind of style at times. So I think those are a couple of the various styles. Groundlings is all based on characters. So everything in the scene is character, it's point of view. No matter what happens, I'm feeding into this character, this point of view. Someplace like the Annoyance Theater in Chicago, they talk about taking care of yourself and don't worry about the rules as much as worrying about making sure you feel okay when you're out there in the scene. So the focus is inward on you as you're improvising. Someplace like IO, also the focus early on was ensemble. So the style was we're working together as a group, and that was like early on IO. So those are just some of the various styles. You also have types of shows like genres, and Improv Theater in LA. They're really big on doing genre shows. So the style is, we're going to do a show in the style of Tennessee Williams, or we're going to do a fully improvised musical. So those are just kind of various styles right there, as far as I know. And there's others that are popping up as we go, but so some are like relationship based, some are based on a premise or an idea that we're exploring and heightening. Some might be based on just characters, some might be based on let's explore, the style is based on what the format of the show is. And that's what the focus is. Yes, Brian Hines and Brian Palermo. Brian Hines is on the East Coast, and he's UCB trained. And Brian Palermo is trained in Groundlings and has been a part of Groundlings for years. Thank you for that, Judy. Anisha Davis accused Papa Bear of improv. Yes, he is. He's such a cheerleader, and he's genuine, and he means it, which is so awesome. For classes and books and things like that. So, also share love about his stuff too, and share, again, for me, it's about sharing the love of other people before I share about me. Hi Helen, if you get a suggestion such as be this actor doing this and you've never heard of the actor, what would you go with it or ask for another suggestion? Well, I mean, me personally, I go with it and watch, the fun for the audience is to watch me struggle to see if I can achieve or not achieve what that is. If an improviser asks for anything at all, then you can't get mad at the audience for giving anything at all. We say, can I get a suggestion of anything at all? The audience gives something that we don't agree with, then we get mad at the audience. Well, don't ask for that. You have control over it. So if you are asking for I guess it depends on Helen, and if you want to put in the comment, how did that suggestion come to be? So is it like the audience is directing you and they're saying we want to see this? And if that's the case, and that's what they've agreed to, that's how the show's been promoted, then you absolutely take it. I don't like to deny suggestions. I like to take a suggestion and go. There's a couple ways I do that. One is I might say like, oh, well, I know who that actor is. But for those of us here in the audience who don't know, could you tell us who that actor is and what they do? In a way that makes me seem I know what I'm doing, but I actually don't. So I might say, I know what klezmer music is, but for those of us here who don't know, could you tell us what klezmer music is? And that's how I learned what klezmer music was it's Jewish folk music. So I might say something like that. But I do not like to not take a suggestion. Now there are times where I don't, if it's inappropriate or just, racial or something like that, I just won't take it. But for the most part, I will. You can also say, oh, when I say the name of that actor, what does that remind you of? And then you can springboard to another suggestion that way. So you're still accepting it, but then you're getting a different one. So I think like my first instinct is I would just go with it. I would never, I would not never, I don't like to ask for other suggestions. I don't like to say, can we get something else? I just don't like that. I remember I see that and it really upsets me when I remember once in a show, somebody got a suggestion and then she goes, I don't know what that is. Can we get something else? And I went, it really bothered me because I said, you're denying the suggestion because you personally don't know what it is. You asked for another one. It wasn't that the group didn't know, or it wasn't that you couldn't trust the group to figure it out. It wasn't even you talked. So you just told an audience member who maybe has never seen improv. You've told them, we don't want that thing that we asked you to give us. And I thought, oh man, I would never do that. That audience member is now everybody thinks it's scripted and it's hard enough to convince people it's not. So please, I would not get another suggestion in that case. But again, up to you. Helen, if you felt in that situation, I'm not comfortable, okay. But I would say there are ways that you can still deal with that suggestion. Hi, Mirtree, is that it? Mitri or Mirtree? And hi, Carla. Summarize what I say. Exaggerate. Oh yeah, exactly. Thank you, Anisha, for that. It's just ways when you have a brain freeze. Exaggerate. Are you kidding me? You didn't say that. Object work. Take a breath. I think is the biggest one. Repeat what they said. Add emotion. Yeah, look at them. Cast them into the emotion. Also, you can say how you feel. I'm not sure what to say about that. Or like, boy, you caught me off guard with that one. Or, hey, I'm embarrassed. I just don't know what to say. Like, add emotion to it. That's great. Yeah, Joe, focus on your scene partner to object work. It's very simple right there. Yes. Groups that promote are great. And you could even, like, if you feel bad, have a page of, Joe Kovac improviser, and then do all your promotion on that page so that people know, hey, that's the page for you. When doing a show, Mark says, I find that goes so fast that it's over before you know it. Do you find that yourself? All the time, man. All the time. And when that's happening, I'm truly in the moment. But yeah, it goes real fast. I feel like it's a sled that goes down a hill. And if I'm not on from the beginning, it passes me by. Or it's like a snowball going down a mountain. It just gains momentum. And then there's more snow and more snow. So yeah, you're not alone, dude. Yeah, all the time it feels that way. Lakshmi, great. When I freeze in a scene nowadays, I breathe deeply because that is the space of anxiety and fear for me. And sometimes count down from 5 to 1, come back to present with my scene partner. Yes, when your brain, think about it, when you're in a brain freeze, you're up here in your brain and you can't get out because you're in your head right there, right? So I think Lakshmi, I can't wait for her book on improv and life to come out because every time she talks about improv, it's applicable to life. So use those same things for life, everyone. Take a breath, count down to 5, and come back and try to stay present. Great, Anisha, when I brain freeze, I tap into my body and offer what I'm feeling in my body and react from that emotion. That's great. I've been loving playing with those pregnant silences. Those pauses are great. I say to improvisers, use more pauses. Shahab, what's up, man? Shahab was a student of mine in Chicago. Very funny dude. Like, he's just a funny, he's one of those guys that's just very funny. He's just a funny gentleman. So it's good to see him. Yeah, Judy, I love a good mutual admiration society too. Carla, improv helps hide my fears and insecurities. On stage, I have so much courage. Exactly. I'm so hesitant off stage and different. Start playing characters off stage as you go into it. I referenced Russell a lot of times in life. I'll play Russell Hackney because I'm like, it allows me a freedom that I don't get as Jay sometimes. So then I'm like, I'm gonna be Russell in this situation, and it helps. Queen City comedy, yes. Queen City comedy and Carla are very inspiring. Agreed. She curates some amazing workshops. I'm doing one with them coming up. I'm doing a 4-week on playing nice, and so that's coming up on Sundays at the end of October. Queen City comedy. I'll be teaching my Play Nice series right there. Yeah, Mark. We have become extroverts and less introverts right there. Embracing, yes, embrace the failure, embrace the brain farts, everyone, embrace it. Oh, yes, Freestyle Love Supreme. Yes, Stephanie's partnering. Thank you for putting that in there, Lakshmi. You can apply there. It says, Lakshmi, it says improv, it says not found, but I don't know if that's true of the workshop or not. Or just, yeah, it says not found. That link might be broken. So please check that link out right there. Somebody can fix that. Thank you, Carla. Yeah, I'm excited to be working with those folks. Great. Shahab, playing show most Saturday nights since 2010. Still fall into the habit of playing safe characters I've had success with in the past. Yes, there is fear in that for sure. It's making finding the fear isn't the issue. It's making a choice in no seconds that leads me back to them. What do you do consistently to mix in new characters? Shahab, physicality. Do a show where you're playing only animals. You're a human being, but you're doing characters that are animals. So I'm a human, but I have the characteristics of an elephant. So I'm going to move slower. Use your physicality. We rely on that a lot more. Physicality, and emotions. Make wrong choices in scenes, have emotional outbursts in scenes. Those are ways to help with character work right there. Also, go into a scene and play people you know. Play the people closest to your life. Play your significant other. Play your relatives. Play people you work with. See if that springs you out. Play those people right there, and allow yourself to fail. If you've been doing a show most Saturday nights since 2010, dude, that's 10 years. It's easy to get in that rut and that complacency and make those choices. So bust out of it. Talk to your group beforehand and say, hey, I want to try different characters. Can you help me do that? And listen to what they're saying, and do that. But I think it's great to challenge yourself, man. Oh, Lakshmi, thank you so much. Yeah, Improv MKE, perfect right there. Philip, I'm a long form freak. Philip, Philoween is coming up, man. Philip is an improviser in Las Vegas. Man, he's one guy needs to be doing more shows online. And so he's a guy I've thought that is just like a joy and fun to play with. I did a 3-person scene with him and Vanessa Anton, and we need to do those characters again. It was just so fun, man. Helen, I hope that helped. Yeah, asking for anything at all opens up. Not only does it open the door to terror, it also is a lot of an ask for an audience. Hey, can I get anything at all? The audience, somebody who's never seen an improv show is like, it's overwhelming. And then they go, I have to say something funny because this is a comedy show. So that's when you get the things like dildo or proctologist, is because they think they have to do that. But if you say, hey, what's something that could, it takes 2 people to carry, or I like asking for things you can do in front of your grandmother or a dog couldn't do, because then I don't get things like sex as suggestions or anything else. It keeps it a little bit more intelligent, and it sets the audience up to succeed. Oh, that was an online suggestion and struggle. So she just made, oh, got it, Helen. You felt lacking though. Hey, allow yourself to feel that way. That's my biggest piece of advice is like, sure, you might have struggled in that scene. You don't have to do that scene again. You also don't have to replay that scene again in your head. You struggled. Now, moving forward, if you get that suggestion again, hopefully there are a couple of options you have for that as you go. Whenever you say like, I remember also seeing somebody once get a suggestion of doing a celebrity of Joan Cusack, which is this like kind of D, C or D-list celebrity in the States, a great actor. She's amazingly funny, but not a lot of people know her, like a character actor. So this person just kept saying, I'm Joan Cusack before they spoke. And it got a huge laugh because also sometimes people who give that suggestion don't know who the actor or the reference is. So don't be afraid of that too. But yeah, good for you for coming through and yeah, you struggled for sure. But that's part of improv. You're going to struggle. Now you can start finding the joy in it. There are times where, I mean, I did a thing for David. We were in a group honoring David Escobedo, and it was like a "This Is Your Life," and it was Star Wars came up, and I have very limited reference on Star Wars. So but I just full speed at that time. I'm like, I'm going to double down and I'm going to be a confident idiot about not knowing. And too many times we aren't confident about that not knowing. We're like, oh, because I don't know, I'm a failure. It's like, no. Double down and be confident and get it wrong. That's where it's like, make the wrong choices. So I named a bunch of Star Wars episode, and I wanted to say like Empire Strikes Back, but I said Empire of the Sun. And I was not going to apologize. I'm like, nope, that's what it is now. And then I went, well, I made that wrong move. I'm going to, and I kept trying to name. I was like, Return of the Sith, which I know those are in the words of Star Wars, the vernacular, but I don't know if that was a movie. I think it was like Return of the Jedi was one. I know now. But then also afterwards, I'm like, I should and I actually watched Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi with my kids, because I also was like, oh, I don't want to feel, I want to have more knowledge. So I was able to go and watch it. But yeah, go easy on yourself, Helen. Yeah, exactly. You went with it. That's perfect. And it's just make believe. It's just improv. It's a hobby. It's a hobby, but be okay feeling like I struggled. I mean, man, I still do. I still feel that way. Elizabeth, how do I avoid teaching scenes? I seem to have a habit upon seeing my scene partner struggle. I flip the dynamic to a teaching scene. How do I avoid that pattern? And why do I put it in its place? Trying to avoid looking like a control freak on stage. Well, you said it, you want to control the scene, Elizabeth, and you're not alone. I think what you can do is, if your scene partner struggles, what if you join them in the struggle? What if you also are struggling? Think about, oh, let me talk to them as a human and not as I have to take on that responsibility and teach them. You can also, when they struggle, see if you can make them struggle more instead of trying to not have them struggle. You want to help them. You want to control the scene, which is not a bad thing, because you want the scene to go well, and you want to help them. So you want to offer advice. And so teaching is the way to help make them feel better, because you're like, let me tell you, when they're struggling, I think it's okay to struggle with them. Or let them struggle. But it's easier said than done. So in the next time you're in that situation, see what happens if you make them struggle more. Honor their choice. Their choice is they're struggling. Make them struggle more. Do it with empathy. Don't make fun of them. But see if you can do it with joy. When somebody's not, they're like, I don't know how to operate. See what happens if you go, well, I don't know, just throw this chair in. Let's see if that works. Like, see if you can join with them, or say, something like they go, I don't know how to operate. Make it worse. Well, this is, you have to learn how to do this. Otherwise you're never going to be a doctor. Oh boy. And if you're not a doctor, your parents are going to think you're a failure, right? Like, either be worse or make it worse instead of teach. Judy, I loved it. One time I was watching North Coast, who do musical improv out of New York City. They asked for a musician, and they were going to do some of that musician songs, whoever they choose. Them obviously had no idea any of their songs were. Get your phone, give some facts about him, and give us some songs. And when he's in, yeah. So great point, Judy. Yeah, it's like, just go with it. Go with it. No, Lakshmi, you are too kind. Oh, Rick James, I love it. They asked for a musician. They didn't know him. Well, first off, you should know who Rick James is. But I think it's great. Incorporate it. Hey, I don't know who that is. Let's get some facts about it. Turn it into a game. Pretend you would plan to do this. I think that's a big thing with improv. It's just the mistakes. Pretend you planned them. Stephanie, thanks for sharing. Yeah, I don't teach with them. I'm just trying to spread the word about their classes. Yeah, that's great. These are great, everybody. Look at all these people. These are just great advice right here. And not just from me, from the people in the chat, for sure. I know, Joe, my chair is squeaky. I know. I've been noticing that. I have to get some WD-40 and spray it. Yeah, Shahab, see if that works, man. And Shahab, play people, you know what else you can do, Shahab? Go into scenes and play, try to do impressions. Don't say you're Jerry Seinfeld, but try to do a Jerry Seinfeld impression who's like a car mechanic. Never mention your Seinfeld. Be like, hi, my name's Tom. What's the deal with, but never say you're Seinfeld. So just try to do impressions of people. I think it's great. Yes, more scenes and shows from Philip. Carla, you and Philip, please, will you do more stuff together? Because I think you would be a dynamic duo. Um, yeah, great. Look at all these. These are some great advice from everyone. Hi, Hazel. As soon as you ask the audience for more specific and personal suggestion. Yeah. Like, what was your grandmother's profession? Or oh, I love that one. What was your grandmother's profession? That's a great suggestion. Or what did you like best about summer when you were growing up? They sit back and reflect a bit, and good stuff comes out, and it's more impressive. I love that, Hazel. That's a great suggestion right there. Um, Stephanie, yeah, I'm not teaching her. Took the class, want a weekly opens. Yes, open freestyle sessions. Rap with all my friends. Yes, Stephanie, please. I'll come. I'll do it. I promise. I will love to freestyle rap with you. I love freestyle rapping. I love it. 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 Oh yes, I love to freestyle rap. I do it with my kids all the time. We sit there, we play like kind of beastie rap. My daughter's 5, my son's 7, and I'll be like, I'm on a chair, 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 and then my daughter will go, look over there, there, and my son, and we do it, and it's so fun. I got hit by a bear, bear, bear. I'm in my underwear, where on my legs is nair, nair, nair. I don't mean to scare, scare, scare. I just really want to stare, stare, stare. Oh, there's a horse. It's a mare, mare, mare. I've got 2. That's a pair, pair, pair. So I love freestyle rapping. I love it. It's great. Interesting asks, thank you for that. Oh yeah, Lakshmi, remember that Star Wars scene? Boy, yeah. Ask. Think about your suggestions of what you want to get, and then ask them. Like, don't just go out there and say, give us anything at all. I mean, unless you want to take it and go right away with it. Like when I see really strong, experienced groups, or just strong groups ask for anything at all, and they get it, and they say thank you, and then they go into something. That's fine. Or give me a word. I think that's fine, but I think if you ask for anything at all, don't get thrown then when you get anything at all. Oh, Carla, yes, those Star Wars references. Those were wrong references, but they were so fun in the scene. So I like don't make the right choice. Now on the flip side, if you know Star Wars, that's the time to rattle that off. Rattle those suggestions off right there. Um, Once a week, here's Judy's idea. Once a week, I set up for people to play with someone for 10 minutes they've never played with before and that they really want to. Always. For sure, Judy. We're going to make that work. I'm going to set that up too. And that's why I put it on I put on a post, hey, who do you want to play together? See, play together. I'm also now going to start just doing that and say, like, who do you want to play with? And see if I can connect you with people, or if I know people who connect with people to play with right there. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think teaching scenes are us trying to control it. So I think if you teach, that's fine, but then make it a personal thing and say like, hey, you know what? I never thought I wanted to be a teacher. I'm really liking teaching. What do you want to do? Like turn it into personal stuff. Hi, Lakshmi. 15-minute dance party. Hazel, what? 15-minute dance party? Wait. Lakshmi, please post that on my page. Uh, Hazel runs a 15-minute dance party. Please, 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 please post it here in the chat and post it on my page so we can spread that word right there. Hi, Kristen. What would you recommend doing when you're part of a show and you think it's going really badly and you just want it to be over? Oh well, me. What do? I say double down and make it the worst show ever. Then at that point, if you think it's terrible, then make it the absolute worst show that's ever been. You can't change it. If you think it's terrible, then just double down and then say this is going to be a terrible show. I've also seen shows that for 18 minutes made no sense and seemed completely terrible. In the last 2 minutes, it became brilliant. So, and a technical thing I would say to those shows, do the very last thing in your show, repeat the first thing you did, and then people will think it's brilliant. So do the last thing at the very end. But yeah, um, if you're thinking the show's going badly, you're judging the show, which is yes and means no judgment. So just accept that that's a show you're in and embrace it and go, oh great, now I've got a terrible show. Every improviser needs terrible shows, stories, and this is a terrible show story. But for me, I go, if I'm judging as bad, then I'm out of it. And instead I'm like, I'm going to still have fun in this show. And I'm going to see if this is, God, it's been 14 minutes of a terrible show. All right, let's do the worst show we can do. And that'll free you up a little bit, I think. But go easy on yourself and then say to yourself, of all the shows you've done, that was one of them. There's more shows coming very quickly. A lot of people who are there, who are watching your show, don't think it's terrible. They're blown away you can do it. So keep that in mind right there. What's something I still want to improv on in my improv. Well, something I still want to improv on in my improv is staying present. And Carla said, oops, improve on. And you might, oh, I mean, Carla, I think I can always improve on staying, like being a better listener, staying present, taking even bigger chances. I think I can improve on. I think really solid, like character work, I think is something I can improve on, but I just take it moment to moment. Yeah, I think improv sounds better. Me too. Uh, Stephanie, yeah, you're going to have her email. That's great. Yeah. Listen, everyone, we're in a situation right now where there's a lot of stuff happening. And so we have to go easy on ourselves and realize emails are going to be late. We're not going to reply as quick as you can. There's just, it's trauma, especially for us in the States. There's so much trauma happening right now that it might take us a little bit longer to get back to people right there. Laura puts on an amazing peer circle for women identifying improvisers. Oh, Anisha, that's great. If you could share that, oh, that would be wonderful. Or if somebody could post that on my page or on Today Improv, or if you could send it to me, then I'd love to share that as well. Yeah, Hannah. Hey, Hannah, when can you come to LA and jam? For sure, Hannah, get out here. Hannah McGowan, amazing, very funny, silly improviser, big energy. Love playing with her. Carla, you and Philip must play together. That's an agreement right there. Hi, Shirley. Oh, thank you. You are talented as well, my friend. Shahab, we do Beastie as a team battle. It's so much fun, dude. I love it. I love playing. I got my pickle on a windowsill. Look at me. I'm with my friend Phil. Beastie rap is you set up a rhyme and your team has to complete the rhyme. The MC doesn't do it. The team does. It's a great rap battle right there. Boom, boom. Oh, thank you, Carla. I love connecting people too. This is great. Yeah, please reach out to Hazel and reach out to Laura for anyone who's a female or female identifying improviser. How do I handle realizing that you deeply personally dislike someone you occasionally have to play with? Once trust is broken, do you throw the whole thing away, or is it still possible to do good improv with someone you don't want to be around? Yeah, I say, like, I don't know. I choose not to be around those people. And so if you are around them and you don't like them, then that's a battle you wage yourself, and you say, is it worth being in that group? Knowing that if it is, then, and you don't like that person, and if they're not going to, the only thing you can control is you. So if you're in a group and that person's not going to leave and you're there, then accepting that they're there. So a coach comes in handy, so you can talk to the coach and get their advice on what it is. But I think, like, if the pain outweighs the pleasure, then leaves the group, no matter what the group, even if it's a group you started, like, walk away, because you're not getting enjoyment from it anymore. So for me, I'm like, it also depends on the context and how the trust was broken. I've been in groups where the trust was broken. I'm like, I'm leaving because I can't, the trust has been broken, and there's too many other people who get me that I can hang out with. So I don't, although it's sad to walk away from a group, it helps me with my sanity. And it depends on where I was too. For some people, like right now, it's like, there isn't anybody I really dislike that I play with, but I've gone through phases. So I'm like, if you can't change what they do, you can only change what you do. So you can't control their actions, you can control yours. So if it's too much, if the trust is broken, then walk away. Realize there are going to be a ton of people who want to play with you. And that goes for anyone who's listening right here. It's not for Stephanie. So your friend, I would say for your friend, there's a lot of people who want to play with your friend. And if you leave that space where they're occupying your brain and you don't like them, and you go to another space, you'll be amazed at the effect that it's been having on you being in a group like that. Everything in my life that's toxic has my claw marks on it. And so once I released it, or I was taken away, it's amazing the amount of joy that came back into my life. Answering for a friend. Dance party, please. We need more dance party. It is so great. Yeah, I love that, Shahab. I think you'd be great as an over-the-top hype man. The next time you do an over-the-top hype man, see if you can change your energy too. See if you can be a hype man, but be very nebbish. What if you're an over-the-top, like nerd hype man? What if you're what if you're a 6-year-old kid hype man? See if you can change the attitude of your hype man there. What's an unexpected hype man as you come out here? Yeah, if you do anything, post it on my wall for sure. Share it with me. tag me in it. Please, especially that right there. No, Stephanie, no. And it's your friend. It's not you. Okay. We know it's not you, Stephanie. It's for a friend of yours who isn't even on Facebook. They're asking, what improv organization do I recommend? All of them. And Shirley, it's what also are you looking for? That's part of it too. It's like, what are you looking for out of your improv? Oh, Hazel, that's great. I'm going to copy that right there. I want to save that information about Hazel, about this dance party. No, I love it. No nonsense, all fun. Can I steal that and say I'm going to do a no nonsense, all fun improv workshop too? But yeah, that's great. I'm going to put that, boom, I'm going to save that. That's great. I love these things. Lakshmi, I disagree. You can sing. Don't say you can't sing. Everyone can sing. Unless you have no vocal cords, you can sing. You might not think you can sing well, but you can sing. And now you have to, Lakshmi, you have to do things where you sing because you can sing. We just convince ourselves we can't, but we can sing. Great. Well, everyone, thank you so much for this. This was great. Lakshmi, you and I should do a scene where we sing together. I don't consider myself a strong singer, but I think confidence has a big part of it. So yeah, the homework we have for this week is and if you want Shirley, if you want to know, like if you have specific asks, message me about, so I can tell you and I can direct you more into the organizations I know that you might benefit from based on what you were looking for. This week, do something that scares you. Also, help raise people up this week. Help raise them up. Promote people. Give shares, likes, and things like that to people. If you know artists or anybody who's making things, see if you can either help support them by buying something from them or promoting them. Those are great ways to help right there with all of those. Yes, I will, Hazel. No nonsense, all fun. I love this. It was so great to see all of you. I'm going to be doing a scene with my buddy Steve Story on my page in about 14 minutes. So please, if you want, join in and watch. Steve is one of my favorite. He is just such a good dude. But yeah, thank you. Take care of each other, and we will see you soon, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Okay, bye-bye.